The UN Security Council has adopted a new resolution to sanction North Korea following its latest ICBM launch in November. Resolution 2397 aims to further cut oil supplies to the regime, repatriate North Koreans working abroad, and blacklist 16 individuals.
The UN Security Council unanimously imposed new set of sanctions on North Korea following its latest ballistic missile launch.
The sanctions severely restrict the imports of vital oil products. This is meaningful.
Resolution 2397 comes 24 days after Pyongyang launched its Hwasong-15 ICBM in late November. It's the fourth UN resolution on Pyongyang this year and the 10th in the UN's history.
The United States, Japan, and China have also reacted to the new UN sanctions. U.S. President Donald Trump wrote on his Twitter account that all 15 members of the UN Security Council have supported more sanctions on North Korea. He claimed the world wants peace, not death. And Tokyo-based Kyodo News Agency reported that Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said the sanctions are of an unprecedented level and urged Pyongyang to show a sincere attitude and take actions to start denuclearization. China's foreign ministry said the international community should fully implement the sanctions, but added the North Korea issue should be resolved through dialogue and negotiation, and that the new sanctions shouldn't have a negative impact on North Korean civilians.
Member countries of the Security Council upped the pressure on North Korea following its alleged evasion of previous sanctions adopted by the Council. The U.S. Treasury Department released photos taken in October that show North Korean tanker vessel receiving material from an unidentified ship. The department suspects the North of smuggling oil. The possible violation occurred just after the Security Council passed a sanction resolution to restrict exports of refined petroleum products to the North.
9 times before today, we have asked the North Korean regime to choose the path of peace. But Pyongyang has chosen the path of isolation. As we have in the past, we will continue to match the Kim regime's choice of aggressive actions with actions of international sanction.
The U.S.-led resolution aims to ban nearly 90% of refined petroleum product exports to North Korea by capping them at 500,000 barrels a year. That builds on the previous resolution in September that set a limit of 2 million barrels. Crude oil exports to the regime have also been capped at 4 million barrels a year. The list of banned North Korean exports was extended to include food products, machinery, and electrical equipment, as well as certain stones and minerals. Also, all North Korean nationals working overseas will have to be repatriated within 24 months. And 16 individuals were added to the international blacklist, freezing their financial assets and banning them from travel.
Sanctions evasion has continued. So this resolution closes the loopholes in the system and requires countries to seize and impound ships.
The latest resolution calls on the UN member states to seize, inspect, and impound any vessel in their ports if they have reasonable grounds to believe the vessel violates relevant UN resolutions.
Today, we have banned the import of nearly 90% of refined petroleum products to North Korea. These products are used by the regime to resource their illegal nuclear and ballistic missile programs. By cutting off this supply, we will restrict their ability to develop and deploy these weapons.
The new sanctions resolution is expected to have an even greater impact on the reclusive regime's already struggling economy by further restricting oil supply and curtailing the regime's remittance earnings from workers abroad.
North Korea hasn't commented on the sanctions. Instead, its state-run television aired the second day of the Workers' Party's conference. Leaders of the lowest-level units called cells reportedly talked about economic achievements and domestic issues. The Workers' Party newspaper ran a commentary on Saturday, reiterating Pyongyang's hostile attitude towards the United States. It says, quote, "The U.S. and its followers are obsessed with schemes to suppress our nation. North Korea should keep on pursuing nuclear arms development.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said it's undeniable that the North is now capable of posing a substantial threat to the United States with its nuclear weapons. He claimed that the regime's rapid nuclear arms development is influencing the global political stage, and the young leader called on his people for greater unity and optimism. The remarks came on Thursday as the North's ruling Workers' Party of Korea opened its 5th conference of cell chairperson. Cell chairpersons lead the party's lowest level units called party cells consisting of 5 to 30 members, and they have the closest contact with ordinary citizens. Kim's showing off the regime's nuclear capabilities and encouraging greater solidarity among the party's low-level leaders has a purpose. It's to bring stability to a regime that has long faced international pressure and sanctions and is now seeing a rise in defections across its borders.
This meeting with the cell chairpersons is a large-scale conference, so it's quite a burden on the regime to even hold it. But Pyongyang decided to do it despite the difficulties it faces economically and domestically. I believe the regime wants to calm down public sentiment.
Meanwhile, photos from the North's official 노동신문 show Kim Jong-un's younger sister, Kim Yo-jong, sitting at the very front row, 5th to the left of her brother. Her seat is a sign that her status has been upgraded, as only select key officials can sit so close to the leader. Kim Yo-jong was named an alternate member of the North's Politburo in October.
After Kim Jong-un purged 2 of his top aides, including Hwang Byung-seo, there are not many people from whom he can get advice or depend on emotionally. Kim Yo-jong's rise was somewhat expected, and she's also a politically oriented person.
Holding the large-scale meeting with low-level party leaders and giving Kim Yo-jong an official position are moves meant to further tighten the Kim family's control over the party.
In Pyeongchang, Gangwon-do Province, where the 2018 Winter Olympics will take place, South Korean and U.S. Marines held a joint winter exercise overcoming the harsh combat conditions of freezing winter and temperatures as low as minus 30 degrees Celsius. Our Won Jong-han has a story.
Troops slowly move through the narrow alley covered in snow. They're in the enemy's camp, so they can't let their guards down. As they reach the enemy's key facility, snipers suppress the guards and the rest move quickly and stealthily to strike. This is a part of the South Korea-US joint winter drill held for 3 weeks since December 4th in Pyeongchang, Gangwon-do Province, with over 440 Marines from 2 countries.
My Marines, as well as ROK Marines, have partnered together. I've endured this training. We've increased our combat effectiveness, both on our side and theirs.
Here in the trenches, the Marines are training to improve their endurance in this cold, harsh environment. It's 30 degrees Celsius below zero, but the freezing weather and the snow aren't the only obstacles. The troops are in tough tactical training, skiing down the slopes and moving quickly around the battlefield. They climb up and down the slopes continuously to improve their over-the-mountain mobility.
The South Korean and U.S. Marines are maintaining operational readiness while overcoming extreme cold with strong comradeship.
해병대! 화이팅! 평창! 화이팅!